Welcome back to Weed Talk News. This is the B block, or the second section of our show. I'm Alaina Pinto. Now let's talk about this amazing scam of $700 million that has been going on for a few years. An international investigation exposed the con, and 9 people were arrested around the world. It's called Juicy Fields, a cannabis cultivation crowdsourcing platform, and it is considered the biggest fraud case in the cannabis industry. It involved 400 law enforcement officers in 11 countries, and Europol was at the center of the investigation because Europe is where the majority of the 186,000 people who were cheated out of an investment were based. There are now reports that at least one of the persons who was arrested had ties to the Dominican Republic, but information is just now being released. Since this was an international operation, let's go north of the border to the legalized nation of Canada. Here's Debbie Facey with the Canadian Strain of the Week.
This is your Canadian correspondent, Debbie Facey, with the Canadian Strain of this week. So what we have in Canada is an increase of the official year from 2022 to 2023, which is a 25% increase. And we have found that Toronto and Vancouver, or I should say Ontario, are the most popular here in Canada when it comes to tokers. Next, what we have is within the Canadian budget that just came out, which is a 430 page book. It mentioned the legitimacy around the tax regime of cannabis once, which means that we aren't necessarily paying attention to what most of our retailers are asking for when it comes to alleviance and some sort of sense when it comes to the taxes. Hopefully we'll get some more information. I'll be able to share that with you. And last but not least, for 420, which I hope you all had a great time, we had in Prince George, Canada, they had their first 420 party, which was a block party, and they shut down the whole entire street. Probably would have been really cool to see. But that is something that they highlighted, and for our Canadian strain, that's pretty much it. But I hope you all had a great 420 and an awesome weekend. Peace.
Did you know that there are at least 200,000 people with cannabis convictions on their criminal records in Arizona? Well, now it's time for ice cream. You're like, what? It's true. Okay. Specifically, Ben & Jerry's ice cream from their Vermont home base is joining the American Civil Liberties Union call for states to expunge and pardon those who are currently still serving prison terms for non-violent possession crimes. So here's Karen Black with more on that news from Arizona.
I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting with the Arizona Cannabis Report for Weed Talk News. Ben & Jerry aren't the only ones working on expungements in Arizona. In a joint effort called Reclaim Your Future, the Arizona Justice Project, Tucson Prosecutor's Office, Southern Arizona Legal Aid, and the University of Arizona Civil Rights Clinic are helping residents of Tucson and Pima County erase their past cannabis convictions, estimated to be between 12 and 17,000. Since January, nearly 200 people have had their records expunged, and with increased awareness and resources, the city hopes to dramatically increase that number in the coming months. In other news, the winners of the 2024 Tucson Cannabis Bowl have been announced. Earth's Healing took home awards for Best Delivery Service and New Patient Special, while D2 Dispensaries nabbed Best Waiting Room and Customer Service. iLava dominated the vape category, winning 3 of 4 awards. Congratulations to all the winners chosen by readers of the Tucson Weekly, where you can find the full list. Also in Tucson, the Sonoran Cannabis Expo was held 420, showcasing 15 brands from across the state and country. Meanwhile, in Yuma County, the Anti-Drug Coalition launched a 12-week anti-cannabis campaign called Just Because It's Legal Doesn't Mean It's Safe. The group claims cannabis use has adverse effects on mental health, including anxiety, depression, and psychosis. Moving up north, Copper State Farms is now the largest employer in Snowflake, Arizona, a small Mormon community of about 6,000 people. While the town was initially divided about bringing cannabis to the area, residents of one of the poorest counties in the nation are now largely grateful for the 300 jobs at Copper State's indoor cultivation facility, which was once a tomato greenhouse. Finally, in a different kind of 420 event, the United Food and Commercial Workers Union Local 99 hosted a rally at Curaleaf's 7th and Camelback location in Phoenix, calling for safer working conditions, full-time employment, a living wage, and dignity on the job for Arizona cannabis workers. This comes after a recent National Labor Relations Board decision claiming Curaleaf Camelback violated federal law by refusing to recognize and bargain with the union, which company officials deny. That's all for the Arizona Cannabis Report. I'm Karen Black from Greenfinger Consulting reporting for Weed Talk News.
I'm Tina Tasaka with Weed Talk News, helping out this week. So, what about the kids? It's the line most prohibitionists use when warning about the dangers of cannabis. Well, if you trust the Journal of American Medicine in Pediatrics, there's a new study just published that included survey data of 890,000 teens from 47 states over a 10-year period from 2011 to 2021. Their conclusions were similar to other studies that legalization, quote, was not associated with adolescents' likelihood or frequency of cannabis use, unquote. The report also saw modest decreases in teen use of alcohol and e-cigarettes. It seems that teens are finding more information about the impact social drugs on the development of their brain function and have decided to be responsible or abstain from use. There's certainly more information available for all in those legal states now. If you don't like the Journal of American Medicine, then how about the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention? It released similar results from another study in 2023 that showed the percentage of high school kids who ever tried cannabis fell 30% during the time of legalization. So when all those prohibitionists, worry about legalization's impact on the kids know more about than the prohibitionists do, and they're being responsible and using it less.
We start our state reports with two legal states in the Midwest who are both setting sales records. Brandon Jones in Missouri and Amy Carter in Michigan.
I'm Amy Carter from Michigan Weedsters with this week's Weed Talk News. March Michigan cannabis sales record hits $289 million, 16% higher than 2023. According to a report from Michigan's Cannabis Regulatory Agency, adult use cannabis sales in the state jumped from $239.9 million in March 2023 to $286.8 million in March 2024. However, medical cannabis sales saw a steep decline, plummeting from $9.8 million to just $2.1 million over the same period, which makes sense given the huge decline in patient card holders. What many Michiganders don't realize is that they are not protected under the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act unless they have a Michigan Medical Marijuana card. The High Times Cannabis Cup announced they will be coming to Michigan this year. This event will be the 5th ever competition that is open to the Michigan public and will see the largest pool of judges in history. In fact, this will be the largest cannabis cup in High Times history overall. Judging kits go on sale in June, and the award ceremony will be held on September 15th. Michigan had several 420 events over the weekend. Happy 420 to you all. I'm Amy Carter with the Michigan Weedsters.
I'm Claudia Post from Scarlet Express, and I'm right here in the Keystone State, Pennsylvania, reporting for Weed Talk News. Last week, Pennsylvania lawmakers held yet again another hearing on marijuana legislation, and the conversation centered around social justice, social equity, and ending cannabis prohibition in the Keystone State. Representative Eamon Brown filed a new marijuana legislation bill that he described as grounded in safety and social equity. Members of the House Health Subcommittee on healthcare took testimony from advocates and stakeholders about broader reform. I noted that we had somebody from Massachusetts on that panel. I was really dismayed because Massachusetts is not very well known in our industry for having a great marijuana program. Matter of fact, it's very onerous. So I hope that we take information from other states, because there's so many more states that have great programs, and we should piece together those good qualities and bring them into Pennsylvania. As we look at this, we want to promote public safety, promote social justice, promote revenue benefits for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and its taxpayers. What an excellent point. We need to ensure that the criminal justice piece is addressed, that there is automatic expungement, that penalties are reduced, and that folks who are on parole are not penalized for cannabis activities. So that's a wrap from Pennsylvania. I'm Claudia Post from Scarlet Express, and I'll be back next week to talk about what's hot and what's not in Pennsylvania. From We Talk News, have a great week.
California remains the #1 cannabis job market in the country with 76,618 jobs. And Michigan is second at just under 47,000 jobs. Florida is third with 30,238. And Florida is a medical-only state that has over 800,000 registered patients. In that state, there is a major policy battle being waged. On one side is the Smart and Safe Florida group, charged with getting the adult use legalization ballot question approved by over 60% of the voters in the fall. But a recent poll organized by USA Today suggests that it won't be easy. Only 49% of the 1,000 resident voters said they would vote for legalization. You can bet that there will be millions of dollars being spent in that state to inform the voters of the benefits of a legal regulated market. While the other side, that includes their governor, Ron DeSantis, claims it will cause the state so many more problems that it's not worth it. So how's that working out in California, you ask? Well, Ivana Vassow has our California report every week. Here she is.
Alaina from the Bay Sesh, reporting from the live for PCM with this week's Pennsylvania report for We Talk News. I'm at the Pennsylvania Cannabis Festival, as you can see. It's a huge festival, 2 barns. This is the second day of the event. There are all kinds of plants, seeds, weed, mushrooms, lots of cool glass. It's really taken me back to the days of medical in California. Similar vibe, a lot more of a community, a lot more culture, a lot more sharing seems to be going on out here, and collaboration. It's really cool to see. I'm about to see Mendo Dope Boys perform at 2 o'clock on the main stage. I guess 18,000 people attended this event just yesterday on 420. Today is 421, the Sunday, day after. And as you can see, there's a ton of people here again. And I just went through hundreds of vendors, plants, seeds, clothes. There's like a lot of food vendors, which is an awesome thing. And just really great vibe, really nice people, really nice products, lots of farmers.
I'm Ivana Vassow from PCM, reporting for We Talk News.
What if we're right? What if all of a sudden they discover that there is medical use for marijuana and that it is good for you, and it's better than alcohol, and it's better than opioids, and it helps your health? What if we're right? What if they find that out?
Specific cannabinoids have medical value. These are facts.
I'm here today in hopes to assist in removing the demonized stigma of cannabis and the perception that cannabis is just about getting high. The true base of this plant has to be known.
I don't think anybody should ever go to jail for cannabis. Get some medicine, and everybody should have access to it.
This is something which, at the very, very least, is the key to alleviating suffering and extending life for millions of human beings. Right? For returning some kind of balance to our society, and quite possibly of restoring our planet's natural balance as well.